They say the most dangerous prison is the one you don't even realize you're in. For many men today, that prison is invisibility. You walk into a room, you smile, you do everything right, and yet no one really sees you. It's not because you're not handsome, rich, or funny enough. It's because you're running the wrong program. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You become what you give your thoughts to." The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If your thoughts are built on a false script, your life will follow that false direction. Picture this: a man at a coffee shop, clean haircut, expensive shoes, nodding politely. On the surface, he looks perfect. In reality, he's failing. Not because he's rude or unattractive, but because he believes doing everything by the book will create attraction. That man represents most men. Men who've spent their lives playing a game with rules that don't even exist. It's like trying to run Windows code on a Mac. The system rejects it. Why does this happen? From childhood, we were programmed with the wrong lessons. Be nice to girls, respect women, happy wife. Happy life. Movies showed the awkward boy winning the beautiful girl by waiting and being endlessly kind. Many men grew up believing approval alone would earn them love. Seneca warned, "A man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary. Seeking approval is that unnecessary suffering. It places women above you, as if their validation is oxygen. The moment she senses that energy, attraction dies." Think back to high school. Maybe you cracked jokes, tried to be nice, but the girl whispered to the quiet boy instead. At work, you stayed late, helped, cared, and she still went home to text someone who barely remembered her birthday. Online, you send clever messages, while another guy types sup and gets her attention instantly. This isn't bad luck. It's the program you're running, the resume strategy. Listing qualities, waiting to be chosen, hoping she'll see your value. But attraction doesn't read resumes. Attraction is emotional, unpredictable, chaotic. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." If your reaction is chasing approval, you remain invisible. If your reaction is living with truth and strength, you create respect. And without respect, there is no attraction. Here's the truth. The problem isn't women. It isn't luck. It isn't fate. The problem is the broken program running inside you. Until you replace it, nothing changes. If you rewire your mind, you step out of invisibility. You begin the journey from being overlooked to being seen, respected, and desired. Most men believe the problem is being too nice. But the real problem is neediness. Approval seeking kills attraction. When you live to win her smile, you tell her she is above you, and attraction dies the moment she feels it. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When your mind depends on validation, you give away that power. Picture two animals. The golden retriever waits at the door, tail wagging, desperate for attention. Now picture the wolf, independent, sharp, unpredictable. Women are not looking for a pet. They crave the wolf. Not because he is cruel, but because he is whole within himself. I once watched a friend at a party. He was broke, sloppy, not impressive on paper, and yet women competed for his attention. Why? He wasn't performing. He wasn't trying to win approval. He carried himself like a wolf, self-contained, unbothered. Meanwhile, men in polished shirts were invisible. Seneca reminded us, "He is most powerful who has power over himself." A man begging for approval has no power. A man who walks his own path, with or without her attention, becomes magnetic. Look at yourself honestly. Do you wait for scraps of attention? Do you reshape your words to match what you think she wants? That's the golden retriever in you. Kill it, because as long as you live like a pet, you'll never be treated like a man. Attraction often feels backwards. The harder you try, the faster it slips away. Why? Because attraction thrives on tension, uncertainty, and respect. When you rush to fill silence or smooth over every disagreement, you kill the spark. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In relationships, Tension is not the enemy. It's the fuel. Silence, disagreement, playful conflict, these create the charge that draws people closer. Think of a movie without conflict. Boring. The same is true with attraction. When you erase uncertainty, you erase desire. Humans crave unpredictability, and women crave the man who can hold his ground in it. Respect is the foundation. Without respect, there is no attraction. If you put her on a pedestal, you force her to look down on you. I once laughed at something a woman said because it was truly ridiculous. For the first time, she looked at me like a man, not a servant. Because I was not worshiping her, I was being real. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Constant approval seeking is craving. It makes you poor in spirit. Subtract it and you create value. Scarcity makes attention powerful. Just as a rare gem is treasured, so is a man whose time is not easily given. Wait before replying. Let silence breathe. Say no when you are busy. That empty space pulls her in like a vacuum. Attraction grows in absence, not in constant presence. The friend zone is one of the most dangerous prisons men build for themselves. It feels safe, even noble, being the listener, the helper, the dependable presence. But beneath it lies a truth. Once she places you there, attraction cannot breathe. Mike, a man I once knew, spent 2 years driving a girl to the airport, fixing her computer, listening to her cry over other men. He thought he was investing in love. In the end, she told him he was like the brother she never had. Years of hope reduced to nothing because he hid his true desire. Epictetus taught, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Hiding your attraction to look safe is deceit, not respect. When you mask desire, you kill polarity, and polarity is what creates attraction. Masculine and feminine are two poles of a magnet. Remove your masculine edge, and the spark disappears. Being masculine is not about arrogance or domination. It's about balance, showing interest without desperation, confidence without arrogance. I once told a woman who dismissed flirting, "Good thing I don't flirt. I just say what I want." She laughed, not because of the joke, but because I wasn't afraid of tension. That tension is where attraction grows. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." To be that man, you must risk rejection rather than accept the safety of the chair. It's better to be turned away as a man than embraced as furniture. The strongest men are not those who need women to feel complete, but those who build lives so full that women become a choice, not a necessity. Desperation is always detected. A man who clings to her texts or waits for her plans is already defeated. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When your thoughts are consumed by her approval, you surrender your happiness. But when your life is filled with purpose, passion, and growth, her presence is a complement, not a lifeline. Standards must rise beyond beauty. Too many men abandon all judgment when faced with a pretty face. I once paused a movie with a beautiful woman beside me and asked, "Do you have anything interesting to say, or should I call it a night?" She was shocked, not by rudeness, but by standards. A beautiful cage is still a cage. Seneca warned, "If you would be loved, love yourself." It means protecting your time, your peace, and your values. True attraction comes when you stop tolerating mediocrity and demand more than appearance. A high-value man doesn't ask, "Will she choose me?" He asks, "Does she deserve to be in my life?" That shift changes everything. Real confidence is not built from pretending or repeating affirmations. It comes from action, from proving your worth to yourself day after day. Confidence is a structure, built brick by brick until it becomes unshakable. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." You build that man by setting small goals and following through. Go to the gym when you said you would. Speak up in moments you'd normally stay silent. Each act is a brick in your foundation. Fake confidence collapses under pressure. But real confidence, built from discipline, becomes effortless. Approaching a woman is no longer a job interview. You don't beg to be chosen, you evaluate. Is she worthy of your time, your energy, your presence? Epictetus taught, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. A man who knows his value doesn't plead for acceptance. He offers an opportunity. That shift is everything, from applicant to selector, from waiting to be picked to deciding who belongs in your world. Transformation always comes with loss. When you stop living for approval, some friends will drift away, some women will vanish, even family may resist your change. It will feel lonely, but that loneliness is purification. It strips away the shallow so space can open for the real. Marcus Aurelius said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Loneliness is not a curse, but a signal that you're walking a higher path. Life offers two buttons. One is blue comfort, safety, routine. The other is red growth, struggle, failure, pain. Most men press blue every time, clinging to comfort, and decades later wonder why no one ever noticed them. Comfort feels safe, but it is a cage. Seneca wrote, it is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult. Growth demands daring. You will fail, you will stumble, but even failure moves you forward. The man who risks and fails still grows stronger than the man who hides in silence and comfort. True change begins the moment you choose growth over safety, read over blue, courage over ease. That choice defines the man you become. Change is not theory, it is practice. You don't grow by wishing for it. You grow by doing the work. One of the most powerful lessons is the 100 Interaction Challenge. Talk to 100 women, not to win them, but to practice. The first attempts are awkward, the next sting, but by the end you stop fearing rejection. You become lighter, freer, untouchable. Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When you stop attaching worth to outcomes, you reclaim power. Outcome independence is freedom. Practice self-amusement. Say and do what makes you laugh. Live without filtering every action through the fear of judgment. That playfulness creates authenticity, and authenticity is magnetic. Epictetus taught, first learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak. When you speak with honesty, without hiding or performing, you connect on a deeper level than clever lines ever could. Most men will nod at these words and do nothing. But the few who commit, who practice daily for just 30 days, will feel the ground shift beneath their feet. Their posture changes, their voice carries, and women notice without effort. Change comes to the man who acts, not the one who only listens. At the end of the journey, the truth becomes clear. Women are not the prize you are. You started invisible because you lived by a broken script. But the moment you chose respect over approval, strength over neediness, growth over comfort, everything changed. Marcus Aurelius said, it is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live.
Ow.
Most men never begin. They wait, they hope, they tell themselves stories of fate and luck. But the only obstacle has always been themselves. You've learned the laws. Respect comes before desire. Polarity creates spark. Scarcity builds value. And a full life destroys desperation. When you stop auditioning and start selecting, you become the man women notice, respect, and desire. Seneca wrote, life is very short and anxious for those who forget the past, neglect the present, and fear the future. Your choice is now. Blue button or red button. Safety or growth, stagnation or transformation. Epictetus reminded us, how long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself? The choice isn't tomorrow. It is here, in this moment. Every second you doubt it, you prove yourself wrong. Every second you act, you step into the life you were meant to live. The man who lives fully, stands in truth, and walks his path with strength. He is the prize.